Hello, how are we? Hello chat. Nice to see who we've got in so far. We've got Gavin and Blaze and Auntie M, Kizzy, VB, Mr. Dibley, who's got issues tonight, so he's not with me. I'm flying solo tonight for the first time in ages. Oh. I'm in there, apparently. I'm in chat, but I'm not logged in. Yeah, that's why it says me. Yes. So in about a minute, yeah, we're going to start proper. We've already done our little tests that we normally do, and I can hear bleeping in my ear for some reason. I don't know why, but there you go. It's all good. I don't know what that means in our chat, but there you go. There are issues all over the country with bad weather and rubbish broadband and stuff, so hopefully my 4G will do the trick tonight, because it is relatively stable. Yeah, no snow out there, but it is darker now. Anyway, we've got 10 seconds to 9 o'clock, so I shall put bug up and I shall see you in a mo. Tidy bye. Yes, good evening. He says having a quick drag, a quick pull on his e-cig before he starts. Yes, it is 9 o'clock, and from what I gather, it's Tuesday the 9th of December 2014. Yes, almost that time. Yes, in fact, I've got 8 days left until I have the whole of Christmas off for the first time in about 11 years. So I'm looking forward to that. Should be quite good. Having a bit of time off over Christmas to watch all that rubbish what is on, and there'll be loads of it on my planner. Yes. The terabyte box will get full, I should imagine, of festive rubbish, but there you go. Gary's just explaining in chat there, and for those of you who are watching catch up, I'm on my own tonight because Gary's broadband is a bit skew whiff, so he can't join me. So I shall be boring you on my own. We'll see how we go. The voice is still a little bit croaky, but we're getting there. So let's start it off with what we like to call the titles. VaperScene is proudly sponsored by Health E-Vape, UK purveyor of e-cigarettes and Pure Perfection e-liquids. Yes, there we go. It would help if I'm on the right screen when I'm pressing the button. Otherwise nothing happens. I was pressing my button and nothing was happening because I was on the wrong screen. But there you go. This is what happens. Yes. So good evening. I hope you are all well out there. Wasn't last night's show crazy? Trips and tips with quite a few of the gang in, and mental is not the word. I watched it a little earlier on, and I must say I enjoyed it muchly. And I'm just looking across at my other screen because I have tweets coming in already, and I've not even mentioned the Twitter, have I? So you can tweet the show using hashtag VaperScene, and please do that a lot tonight because I've got little material and lots to talk about. What have we got? I say it's VB, and he is tweeting, what's he tweeting? He's tweeting that. Yes, hopefully Gary's new shed will get the storm. I think he meant to put a T on that one, VB. Yes, spell check. Anyway, hashtag VaperScene. Send me your Twitterings, and of course you can talk in chat as well. I'm looking at both of those. And Leanna Lawrence has said, let me just go back to that shot. She's saying in chat, I want an RDNA 40 now, but I can't find one. They do seem to be in very short supply. And I was looking on Facebook earlier, and someone posted in one of the forums on Facebook, one of the groups, that they had damaged the 510 connection on theirs, stripped it, and they were looking for a new connector. That can't be good. So I wonder if that was just, a case of it wasn't screwed in properly and it's threaded, it's stripped, or whether it was a bit soft in the first place. Don't know. Might have to find out about that one. Yes, the VaporShark RDNA 40s are in short supply. All the vendors that I've seen are waiting on stock from VaporShark in the States, and a lot are saying 15th of December. There is somebody who is making them in Ireland, and they're doing 3D printed ones. Yes, so I might be bringing one of those very soon. We'll see how long that takes. But yes, looking forward to getting something with the DNA 40 chip in. And I've ordered some NI 200, some nichrome wire anyway, and also some Japanese cotton, which I haven't tried yet, and some rayon from the company over in Warrington that you may or may not know about. And that's coming tomorrow. So I should be building some coils that can be temperature controlled. Yes. So that'll probably be next year now, really. I don't think anything's going to happen this side of Christmas, but maybe next year. Yes, there are some over in the States. By the time you've added on the conversion and the postage and the fact that it takes ages to get through customs and all that malarkey, you're probably not looking at this side of Christmas anyway, are you? But you never know. I think they're the much sought after mod at the moment. Even though it's only 40 watts, don't forget that watt for watt you can get much more powerful mods out there just without the things that the DNA 40 from Evolve has got on it. And if you watched last week's Haze Hour, you'd have seen one of the guys, Brandon from Evolve, talking about that quite a lot. Yeah, if you haven't seen the show, get onto YouTube or the iPlayer or our player and have a look. It was rather interesting. So let's move on with some stories. What have I got for you first? Yes, BBC. Air pollution causing deadly public crisis. Now you're probably thinking, what has this got to do with e-cigarettes? Well, I saw this story yesterday, and if you look on there's an estimated 29,000 deaths annually in the UK from air pollution. And nitrogen dioxide is known to cause inflammation of the airways, reduce lung function, and exacerbate asthma. That's difficult to say when you've got a bit of a cold. Particulate matter, the tiny invisible specks of mineral dust, carbon, and other chemicals, are linked to heart and lung diseases as well as cancer. So you might think that the government would be better spending money on our air pollution sorted rather than try and crack down on e-cigs, don't you think? That's the kind of point of me talking about this story. And the annoying thing is that for years we were told, buy diesel, buy diesel, buy diesel. It's much better. You can get more miles, it's cheaper, malarkey. And now we're being told that, well, diesel's more expensive than petrol for a start, has been for a long time. And now we're being told that in certain parts of the country, i.e. London, I think it might be 2017, they're going to start taxing you more on the when you're going to London if you've got a car that's over X amount of years old and it's diesel. So it's kind of, you know, what are they talking about? There's more in that story. Joan Wally, the committee chairman, told the BBC there is a public health crisis in terms of poor air quality. Yeah, and if you go into the big towns and you see the big lorries and if you're behind one of them, I sometimes turn off my airflow into the car, so I don't get all the gump into the car because it proper stinks as well. But yes, interesting angle. And I was looking, I get an email every now and again from They Work For You, because I have certain email alerts set up, and one of those people that I follow is Jane Ellison, who's the Parliamentary Under Secretary of State for Health, and she's a Conservative from Battersea. And she was asked a question, and the question was, what is the policy on the advertising of e-cigarettes on television? Well, as you know, recently they've been changed. So they had the old VIP adverts going around, and the bit at the bottom is the bit that you need to look at, really, because when the TPD comes into force in May 2016, there won't be any advertising. So the VIP ad, unless they get med regs, will not be allowed. That will be banned. And I do get the occasional email. I've had a couple today, and most of it talks about stuff that I'm not interested in, really. How many times young offenders go back to prison before they're shot, all that kind of stuff that comes in. Banal. Some of the things they talk about are really strange, I have to say. But when I get one I'm interested in, it's all good, and then I'll go and have a look on the webpage. But if you go to theyworkforyou.com, find out who your local MP is. If you have any issues, you can always talk to them. And my MP has been pretty good. Dan Jarvis from Barnsley Labour, has been pretty good in talking to me. I've met him 3 times. It's the other one, it's the MEP that I don't particularly like, Mrs. McAvan, however you want to pronounce her surname. Yes, we don't like her, do we? No. Let's see what chat's got to say. Let me put this up while we're talking about that. Oh, here we go. VB has just tweeted. Let me go to that one. I'm all over the place tonight. I do apologise. My buttons are everywhere. There we go. He's trying Japanese cotton tonight. Very nice. Yeah. I saw some and I thought, I'm going to try some of that because I've got lots of other stuff, and I know that Matt Garish uses rayon, and I've got some of that coming as well. And Brian Furball, is that Brian Furball? Furball. Look at this monitor, it's bigger. Furball has retweeted that, so you can tweet me. Get tweeting. There you go. Hashtag VaperScene. Right, let's look at the next thing I had. What did I have? I had this one. Yes. Children, according to the Mail Online, children are 3 times more likely to try e-cigarettes than tobacco. Devices are luring youngsters to smoke, scientists warn. Now, look at this quite carefully, because this is a study of 1,601 pupils aged 10 and 11 in Wales, and they found 6% had tried e-cigs. That compared to just 2% who had smoked regular tobacco. Experts have warned devices act as nicotine gateway for children. Yeah, really? If we go back to this story, this is from the 25th of November. According to the Office for National Statistics, try saying that with a sore throat, indicate those who use e-cigarettes are almost entirely current or former smokers. So who are we believing here? Who's got the right information? The ONS, which is a government body, they're saying that this gateway effect doesn't appear to be there. But then you go to Wales and they do a study, and I think it's 96 is 6%, 96 of 1,601. I've just seen a tweet from Maxstrom, not a tweet, a message on the chat from Maxstrom about his MP. I can't say that. Yes, so 3 times as many children have tried e-cigarettes as smoked tobacco. Figures show. Who did they ask? Did they really ask 1,601 pupils? Some 14% of those who tried e-cigs said they might start, compared to just 2% of children who'd never tried. The battery-operated devices resemble pens or cigarettes and contain liquid form of nicotine. You know the story. It's the same old blurb. Does that look like a pen? No, it doesn't. Does this look like a pen? No, it doesn't. The fact is that they're showing a particular type of e-cig, or they're showing a cig-alike, and it looks like a cigarette. It's the same old stuff, isn't it? Leanna Lawler says if she thinks that the Welsh questions were loaded. Yeah, quite possibly. It's very difficult. You know, you're talking to 10 and 11-year-olds, how easy it is to load the questions so you get the answer that you want. It's probably quite easy, isn't it? If maybe they'd ask 16 and 17-year-olds who are, you know, wiser, even 13 and 14-year-olds who are a little bit wiser and more street, you know, they know what they're talking about, they might have got a different answer, eh? What else? I can't say that, Max, I'm sorry. Very Boring says, yeah, they are sensationalising the study results, as again, the original report says things differently, because only 14% of the 6% said they might go to try cigs. Well, if they do, they do. And even without e-cigs, if we didn't have e-cigs, there'd be a lot more kids smoking, because that's when people generally start smoking. I was smoking at around about 13 years old, but then I stopped for quite a while, until I was 15. and then I discovered beer, and beer and fags went really well together. And I worked at the weekends and stuff. I was 6 foot. I was not exactly a small 15-year-old, so I passed as 18 plus. So I could buy fags and I could go to the pub. I'm not condoning that. I'm not saying that children should be doing that. What I'm saying is that's what happened to me. That was my story. I started at 13, stopped for a bit, started again at 15, and decided I liked it. But then 10 years later, I gave up for 7 years. And then I started again. But I've got no intention of starting again because I've found these. And it's 3 years in February that I've been using these. So, studies, yes. Max Drum says they should be arrested for endangering kids. Who should be arrested for endangering kids, Max Drum? That's what happens when you're looking at little bits of chat. Let's go back to our little tweet here, because I've got one here from Big Bo Dave. And Big Bo Dave says, right key, that key. Rayon plus DNA 40 plus 0.2 ohm coil. Deliciousness. Dave the Rayon. That sounds good. Yeah. We'll have some of that at some point, hopefully. Yes. So, yeah, that was the mail story. But again, going back to this from only last month, a couple of weeks ago, with the Office for National Statistics saying that there wasn't a gateway effect. So it's just a case of who the heck do we believe? And personally, I believe the ONS. But there you go. Now, there was another story that came out today, and it was a video on YouTube. Now, I can't show you the video because there's music on there, and we can't be sure of the copyright situation, so I can't play you it. But I'm sure somebody can put it into chat for you. And it's from the Fire Brigade in Kent, and it's some pictures, some video, and an interview with a chap whose house, unfortunately, ended up burnt. And they've identified the reason, and the reason was incorrect voltage applied to a battery when it was charging in his bedroom. It's basically gutted his house. So if someone puts that in chat from the team, then we can let you have a look at that. But I can't show you the video because we've got to be really careful what we do copyright-wise, because it's not good if we get into trouble. Yes, so I can show you the video, but I can't show you the music. No, I won't show it. I'll let you look at it at some point. So Yes, there was that one. And what else did I have for you? There was also this. Now, this was in HCP Live, and this was on Twitter earlier. And it's an article by Frank J. Domino, MD, from yesterday. And there was a study done, and I'm just going to go to the last section of this, which is this. The authors raise a number of questions trying to identify how best to regulate e-cigs, as in electronic cigarettes. They generated questions which might drive regulator concerns. Do chemicals in e-cigs cause excessive morbidity and mortality? And they say the best evidence of the long-term effects are not known. What can be though is the toxic content compared to cigarette smoking is much less, and thus thought to be unlikely to be harmful to e-cig users or those in close contact to e-cig users. Good, we know that one. Does e-cig use lower the success rates of those who want to quit tobacco products? And the study found the opposite, that those who wish to quit were more successful. And we know, come back to me for a sec, we know that electronic cigarettes have taken over the use of orthodox NRT by some margin. We know that already. Do e-cigs make it easier for younger people to begin using tobacco products? While some have argued that electronic cigarettes could be a gateway to cigarette smoking, there is no evidence of this occurring. Now, that's in America. So is it just Wales? Is it just this small part of the world where it does happen? Don't know. Will e-cig make tobacco use have greater social acceptance and lead to greater use by those who would otherwise would not? And the dataset did not find that e-cig use is increasing the population of those who use tobacco products. And finally there, does e-cig use reduce the adverse effects associated with tobacco use? And again, this data could not conclude this, as e-cig use was still very low, and it would be a long time before outcomes like cardiovascular disease, COPD and cancer could be studied. This would certainly be welcome news if it was so. Well, we know that using these is a far safer way of delivering nicotine into your body than lighting up a fag is. We all know that one. I'll look at chat while the ads are on, which are going to come up now. We'll look at that and then we'll talk about that last section in a little bit. See you in 2.
VaperScene is proudly sponsored by Health E-Vape, UK purveyor of e-cigarettes and Pure Perfection e-liquids.
Often imitated, never duplicated. Award-winning service and products from cloud9vaping.co.uk.
And now it's back to VaperScene on Vapor Trails TV. VaperScene is sponsored by Health E-Vape, UK purveyor of e-cigarettes and Pure Perfection e-liquids.
And we are back in the room. Took a bit of time there. I was just looking at one of my lights because it was flickering. And I don't know why it's flickering, but there you go. Just looking at chat there through the ads, and Liana Lawless has put in, my blood pressure and pulse rate dropped vaping, oxygen saturation increased. Now initially that happened to me, but I've got high blood pressure anyway. So, but that's got nothing to do with the vaping at all, because it's high even if I don't vape. It's just because I'm a big boy, so I've got high blood pressure. So yeah, initially mine did change. And Yoda, there's a bit of a balancing act going on at the moment between negative press, always swinging from one side to the other. Eventually someone with sense will come to a proper conclusion. Absolutely right. And we're seeing this quite a lot, because one day we'll get loads of positive stuff coming through, and another day we'll get some negative stuff. And VB has tweeted, let me just put that up. The Welsh survey was about intention to smoke, not actual usage, so the conclusions in the fail are just wrong. Yes, that sounds about right, VB. Certainly does. Go back to that. What else have we got here? Yes. Gary's put, sorry if I bore you tonight in my bit. That's coming up soon, Gary, I have to say. I do apologise, I've got to keep looking down here to look at chat. Max Drummer said, okay, just watch that bit of video. One comment that stands out. Yes, lipo bags are a good idea, especially when dealing with Muppets. Now, I have to say, I've got a bag, a charging bag, which I have used. I bought it to test for a show early on in the year, if you remember, and they are very good. It doesn't heat up or anything. I just don't know. They're not really designed to have those kind of e-cigs put in there. The ones what you screw into the USB and then put it into your charger. It's not exactly easy to put that over the bag. It's better if you've got something with a lead on it and you've got the lead kind of coming out the side of the bag. But I think what we're seeing time and time again is news stories that are sensationalizing the fires, and the fires are 95% down to user error and not down to an item failing. And what they're not saying is that somebody plugged in their laptop and their laptop exploded. I did see something on Facebook actually recently, it was at the weekend, where a guy had fallen asleep with his laptop on his bed, and because he'd covered over the airflow, heat had caught fire and he died. So that was a fire, again, caused by user error, fallen asleep and the airflow had been blocked. They do get very hot, which is why you're not really supposed to put on that area, because it does warm things up a tad, which is not good for you. Yeah, that's why they're on the right side and not on the inside. Oh dear. Anyway, let's move on. Before I say something really, really bad, let's move on, and we're going to go into part one of this week's MFT, and I've lost it. There we go. It's coming up. No modding this week from Gary. Gary's talking about his journey and showing us lots of bits of kit, which is rather interesting. I've seen this a few times now. Enjoy, and I will see you on the other side.
Right, so we're back for another week, and at the moment I'm still modless to go into my chunk of acrylic. What I'm going to do a little bit of today, I had somebody pose a question to me, and they said, what effectively, how did I get into modding? What was my, if you like, journey from starting to modding, and what was I using, and playing and this, that, and the other. And I thought we'd go through a little bit of a Dibley journey as such. boring one, but there you go. As most people, my first e-cig as such was the little 901, and you've probably all seen these before. This was, if you like, the first thing I picked up. Separate battery, switch, ETI. Most of these at some point had the rubber cap taken off, because at that time I think dripping was discovered, and we were dripping in rather than the puny ass cartos that lasted about sort of 10 drags. Rapidly then the 510 came out, and for me that was a revelation. This is when it started getting interesting for me, and this is, if you like, when my modding started. This was great, but battery life was rubbish, and it just didn't give enough. So this is sort of what inspired me to go forth, and my first mod was actually a 5-volt pass-through, which was the first thing I ever made. From then I rapidly went on to boxes. If you like, the AA box. It's a treble A box. It's a treble. Sorry, that is a treble A box. I used all sorts. We used these. We used the little treble A double boxes, and they made for some very stealthy little mods. And then also using, if you like, the AA treble boxes with a 5-volt regulator. Now, at this point, this turned stuff around quite a bit for me. Having a regulated solid 5 volts out, running two 14500s in there with a regulator, it just hit every time. So that sort of started me off on the modding path as such, and I think in between the times of doing that and making the pass-throughs and the boxes, this little boy come along, and that sort of ticked a lot of boxes in terms of, I wonder if I did test this, and it was quite amazing that this is an old 510 ETI that I haven't used for a long time, but I stuck it on here and thought, I wonder if I stick a couple of drips in, see what happens. Put a drip tube on. It's very faintly firing, but it's got some 80-20 juice in there, and it fires a nice little way forward there. I think from that point on, and this is going to be very brief, I started looking at torches, and torches opened up a whole different game for me with the torches. And I think many of you, this is a torch that holds a little held a battery pack in there, and this one was modified by simply taking out the circuitry. We've actually done this one on the show, modified by taking this out, putting in a 510 and a switch and some circuitry, and that would then take an 18500 battery. I think it was that long ago. I'm bugging if I can remember what we put in them now. And I did variations of this with bottom switches, with all sorts, and this and the other. We then sort of started looking at different torches, and we've modded everything in our time, from these massive, great ultra fire torches to, if you like, these little slender torches, and these are pound shop jobs. This one's been well and truly butchered, but these you could get lots of things out of, because I discovered at one point that the threading in the base of these would actually take the exact threading of a switch, so the switch would lit straight in the bottom of that, just purely by playing and messing around. So we did a 510, we run new things in there, and let me just show you this switch. We actually modified the switch so that the switch would actually, it's got now a top cap on it, and effectively what I did was short one of the legs directly to the body, and the other leg is connected to here, and then it was just all insulated up. So effectively, with one bit shorting to the body, when it was connected in here, and you press the switch, it was making the, if you like, the circuit, the contact. So that literally just screwed in, and you had your 510 in there. This one's messy as buggery. But, lots and lots of things that we were playing with at the time, and it's just a case of, you know, taking stuff, dissecting stuff, and playing with stuff. I then went on, and another torch. See, we were making, or tried atomizers at the same time, because there were these little bad boys as well, which were little treble A torches, and the treble A torches were fun to play with. I made some mods out of this, but I had more success making rebuildable atomizers. I think at the time, rebuildables were sort of out there, and I looked at this and thought it has possibilities with the base cap and this. So it's sort of based on a bully thing. The holes was too big in this one, but it was the same sort of thing. You know, you built your wick down in the bottom, you screwed your drip thingy on the top, and this one's probably cruddy as buggery now. I don't do that. But in the deck, we sort of, look at the rubbish coming out of it. On the deck, you could build your coil. Look at that. Look. That's what happens to dry juice. It turns to dust. So torches were a very, very big influence for me, and a very good playing point. In my modding life as such. Of course, tins were the big thing, and we started playing with all different bits of circuit boards. Most of the mods that I owned at the time, they either got dissected to play with. I'd have very few rare, what I would call historic mods, because they all got mullered at some point. As well as the PCC charging cases, they all got mullered for batteries and USB connectors, and because back then you couldn't get a 510 connection, you had to wait for one of your batteries to die and literally strip it out of here. You couldn't buy them. You had to strip an old battery to get them. I was very lucky at the time that Mr. Cropper from Totally Wicked was actually supplying me all of his returns, all of his dead batteries for me to rip out for connectors. So it was a nice place to be at the time. So yes, boards, and I've still got half finished tins where we've done, if you like, twin 18650 display step down boards. You've seen these as well. As well as, if you like, making mods from the guts of old things. So this one has got a lava tube board in. It'll work, just got to fix the ends in. So it's got a lava tube in there, and some of these just ended up in a half finished in a drawer. It's gone from there. I've made some big errors in my time when it's come to buying things to mod. Most particularly with these things that I bought, I think about 30 of in one hit, because they were spec'd up the right size to take a battery to do something with them, but they were spec'd up to potentially take an 18650 according to the eBay description. I ain't going in there. So yes, I've used these for other things, but some bad buys, nearly as good as Cat's syringe that she bought at one point. I mean, that really brief run over, if you like, where I started, as everybody did. 901, started playing with mods and bits and pieces, and it all went from there.
Yes, so that was the first part, and the second part will be coming up in part 3. Yes, and I've watched that a few times, as I said there. I can't believe that you didn't actually measure the box, Gary, or get the spec. Bit different to the 18650, but there you go. These things happen. They're nice boxes, though. Maybe you should polish them up, and you could sell them as pill boxes or something. Don't know. But my journey was very similar. I started on a 901 Reaver kit that I got from Liberty Flights, and within a week tube, which I've still got, and it still works. In fact, I've probably still got the original battery as well somewhere. I don't throw anything away. I don't like throwing things away. I'm from Yorkshire, and we don't throw things away. So I've got every single mod I've ever had, apart from one that I didn't like, which I put into the Children in Need pot a while ago. For last year's Children in Need pot, I think. It was a bottom button thing. Didn't like it at all. I don't like bottom button mods, I have to say. I've got one, the telescope mod. That's the only bottom button one I've got. And I was looking in chat there, I've got a tin and all the gubbins to actually make a mod. Gary sent me a little display, and I got the board and everything else. And I've kind of started it and I videoed it, but I never finished it. Maybe I'll get round to doing that in 2015. Actually build a box mod, which I've not done yet. Maybe Gary can do my bit one week, and I'll do the MFT. We'll see what happens with that. Right, let's go to the next set of ads. When we come back, we'll have more from Gary, and we'll have a real blast from the past, which will make you chuckle, because it's been making me chuckle all day, I have to say. In fact, it's been making me chuckle for quite a few days. Let me find my adverts. There they are. We will see you, or I will see you, in 2.
VaperScene is proudly sponsored by Health E-Vape, UK purveyor of e-cigarettes and Pure Perfection e-liquids.
Vapers, do you love discovering new e-liquids? Tell Dripper the types of flavours you like, and they'll send you 5 gourmet juices each month. Experience new and exclusive flavours, all with a money-back guarantee and free delivery anywhere in Europe. Dripper.co.uk.
RY4 Radio.
And now it's back to VaperScene on Vapor Trails TV. VaperScene is sponsored by Health E-Vape, UK purveyor of e-cigarettes and Pure Perfection e-liquids.
And indeed, welcome back to part 3. And the reason I'm chuckling is I've been looking at chat as the ads have been playing there, and Sav has got a lot of work to do on updating our swear filter. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, come and watch us live and get into chat, because we have a lot of fun. We certainly do have a lot of fun. Right then, let us go to the next section from Mr. Dibley. And it's pretty much where we left him. No, it's not, because that is actually part 1. This is part 2.
Where am I now? was the next question. What do I use now? And it's not high-end stuff. I very rarely keep a mod and hang on to a mod. I went through quite a long phase on this type of device, the Vamos, as most people have and most people still use. Cracking, nice, cheap little unit that did me good at the time. I found it invaluable to go to meets and this, that and the other, and that is where I think I found, if you like, the device or the juice or the unit that took me on to my next stage in vaping. I've tried the dripping side of things. I don't get on with dripping that much. I just can't seem to get it right, which you would think is bizarre for a modder. But I don't know whether it's my taste buds or whatever. I just, every now and then I will do, but I just don't get on with it. Love the devices, and this is a cracking Atty, but it's just not for me. I went for years, absolute years, for a long time, probably only up recently. This was my staple, the good old Carto tank. It had to be Boge Cartos. Nothing else seemed to do it. The good old 1.8 or 2 ohm Boge in one of these on a variable wattage or variable voltage device, and that was me set. Cracking. Bestest. I'm gonna buy some Boges at some point to have another crack, but that was where I was Atty wise for a long time. I think until the thing that actually broke my habit was probably the Pro Tanks, and in particular the Pro Tank 2. I never see or looked at a Pro Tank 1, but the Pro Tank 2s, got a couple of those. They, if you like, forced my shift from the Carto tanks, so I evolved, and from there I've obviously had the rebuildables and the K-Funs and all of that sort of stuff, but I still go back to these. I think for simplicity they are just a cracking type of device that you can just screw your atomizer in and away you go. Like I say, places like VapeFest and that sort of were a big good source of change and bits and pieces for me. I think probably 3 years ago at it was a Tamworth one that I discovered Vermilion River liquid, and I vaped nothing else for a few years up until recently, which was just after this VapeFest. I think that's where I also discovered the Aspire tanks, and I like the Aspires a lot. I've been using these now since August, and I have a fair collection of the Aspire tanks on various devices. And if you like these two, the iStick and the dodgy black one, that's me go-to devices. That's all I'll use. The liquid I'm using now on a day-to-day basis is stunning. Now I think I tried a bit, I can't remember, it was VapeFest or whatever, just after, and that was the Strawberry Fields liquid. Now I've never ever tried I was always mainly purely PG. Started getting into more of the VG mixes, and this is probably the heaviest VG mix I've tried, which is the 80-20. It's my staple now. It's probably going to be a Vermilion River for me. Between those two bad boys, the peachy and the strawberry, that's me. And the good thing about these is I can buy them in big bottles. I'm sick and tired of I think that's why I went off the Vermilion River stuff, because the Vermilion River was used to be available in 30ml bottles, but when they started breaking it down into the 10s, I started losing interest, and it just lost a customer really. There was, what's the point? A 10ml bottle. I cannot see the point in a 10ml bottle. I know the sample and stuff like that, it's good, but yes. So in terms of now, that's it on the table. Pretty much that. The DNA, no, I had put a proper DNA board in that. The old one was a bit shocking. The eye stick, and these. That's me where I am now. I'm starting to love something new though, which is surprising because I didn't expect it to be that great, which is the e-grip. And I've had a couple of the Joytech atomizers when they first came out that had a similar sort of filling method to this, and they used to, well, mine leaked like a sieve, so I wasn't expecting big things from this. But that, if you've got the right viscosity liquid in, and it has to be, I've yet to, I put the strawberry field stuff in, it wouldn't wick in here that well, so I changed it to mainly a PG juice, and it's just wicking for fun now. And that is a nice little pocket device when you look at the two side by side, and even with this one, you got this set in the middle with the Aspire on. It makes it so much more pocketable, even with a big arse tip on the top. But yes, that is my daily arsenal, apart from my day job, which is now, that's my pocket device, a little iTaste VV, and I've got something new on here, which is sort of, I've only just recently picked up because I like the BVC so much. I got the Aspire K1 on here, and the Aspire K1 is kicking butt, should we say. It's replaced my ProTank 2 minis. Do love the BVC coils. That was, I hope that answers your question. It wasn't very in depth, but that was a rough, where I was, what we used to do with modding, where I sort of went. Hopefully, I probably waffled for far too long. Next week we'll be back on here, hopefully, with some modding. I'm hoping that my super duper purchase from the slowest place the other side of the world is actually going to come through. Yes, a bit short for time today, so apologise. I answered the question. 901s, boxes, tins, torches. Oh, I forgot no shavers. No shavers. 14,500, pound job. 510, no shavers. Those that we did along the way. Loads of stuff. If you can put a battery in it, you can mod it. We'd love some challenges. But I will be back next week. Hopefully back on the lathe, having something fixed and glued in place. Back to Marco's studio.
Indeed, it's back to me. Had my volume up then because I was listening as I was watching that. Yes, so that was the second part from Garry this week, and I'm rapidly running out of time. But I do have a bit of VT that I've just got to play. Okay, and last week Garry was doing a bit of mending, and he was mending a silver bullet. And there's a video out there of somebody that we all know. With a silver bullet, and I'm going to play it to you now. I hope you got some tissues ready because you're going to be laughing and crying quite a lot. So see if you recognise who this person is.
Hey, alright, how you doing? I've got a review for you all today, and it's gonna be like about the double barrel silver bullet, the NAS. Now, a silver bullet, if the NAS out the boat, it's a get heavy thing that can bring nails in with, but this one you can do it twice as hard. Here's how it comes as the base. Can I say it? How? Look at that. Inside there, it's got what they call a hurt spring in it. The NAS, that's a spring that's not made out of stainless steel, it's made out of copper, so it like passes them electronic ants that much better. How? Battery, there you go, ultra-fire battery. Now this is a non-protected battery, there's a reason for that, I'll tell the more about it later on. It goes in like that, clunk, get in, and here's the switch unit. Hang on, little wipe, because it's look mucky, right, on the top, look at that, look. 2 holes to put the 510s in, the NAS. Proper jobs them and all mine. Properly fully sealed like this here. And there's the button. Pressy. Quite quiet. But it clicks. There it goes, right. So, we'll screw that on there like that. Takes a little bit of pressure. Screw it together. Aircraft grade aluminum and all. Right, so. 510. Atomizer like the NAS guns on there like that, and then we take the tip, put it on like I've already dripped into it, so it didn't get the knickers and it twisting out like that, and I'll just give it a go on the single atomizer neutralizer the NAS, and I watch. That's the single atomizer, the atom kettle. Right. Put the other one on. Screw, doo. There the guns. Tip on. It's one I've dripped earlier. Aye, right. Here we go. Now, you'd think when you've got a personal nicotine inhalation system like this, because it is, it's a PENIS, personal electronic nicotine inhalation system. I like to call it me penis. You can get it in your mouth quite easily. It's very easy. Ladies, take particular note. Here we go, and then right, I'll stick it in and I'm gonna suck on it till the white stuff comes out. Here we go. Bloody hell. Dear me. I tell you what, you didn't get any, the volume of vape is no bigger than it was. Like, quantity wise, the NAS you'd still feel the same, because me gob's the same size as it was before I started. But, yeah, bugger. It's dense, they can chow on it, the NAS. It's like a study cake compared to a fairy cake, if the NAS what I means. I'll get another gun, watch this. Irish waterfall. Aye, French shit. Bloody hell. Whoa. Now, believe it or not, that's got the RY4 juice in it, the NAS. It's my favourite flavour, with one exception. I love the taste of RY4, but the thing I love better is the taste of pussy. Excuse me while I taste some pussy. Oh, there's no better when you've had your penis in your mouth than the taste of pussy. It's gorgeous. Right, I'll get another one. What you get out on it is like, it's all the flavour to savour of 5 volts passed through it, with all the coolth and the smoothness of 3.7. It's held the NAS. It's bloody gorgeous. Get down, dog. It's nice. That's it. Now, what was I going to... Oh, aye. If you put a protected battery in this bugger, it wouldn't work. And I'll tell you for why. It's because them two atomizing the IVs, atomisers, they pull how much current out of a protected battery, and the little protecting circuit kicks in, and it just goes, nah, not going to play the NAS. So they're the guns. What I recommended, on Saturday at York, and I've used it mostly with it like the single element thing in it, and but the double I used last night while I was sitting, and everybody's gone, what the hell is that? Who? And I was saying what it was, and there was a few folks tried it. One passed out. Cracking. If you're looking for that hit and a buzz, it's the first time I've had a buzz off an e-cig or a penis. I need my pussy. Hang on. If you've never tried, the taste of pussy's gorgeous. Have some pussy. I like pussy. I get pussy every day. Right, so there we go. If you're going to buy a penis, this is the penis to buy. Either single-barreled or double-barreled, atomized and infinite. But say, look.
Thank you for tuning in this week. Don't forget that tomorrow night you've got The Cave with Matt, and Thursday you've got The Haze Hour with Mr. Kitson. Mr. Kitson, Mr. Dawn on Thursday. Mr. Kitson's back on Sunday with Dave's Tackle Box, and then you've got Drips and Tips on Monday, and then next Tuesday hopefully Gary will be back to rescue me. So you got RY4 Radio every night of the week. So until we see you next time, tatty bye. Thanks for watching.
VaperScene is proudly sponsored by Health e-Vape, UK purveyor of e-cigarettes and Pure Perfection e-liquids.